Hi, everyone. Well, I told you we were going to make a drawing of Thor's Mjolnir. That's Thor's hammer. So let's get drawing today. Here's a picture that I made of what it's going to look like. And it's very easy to do, so I think you'll have fun. I just did it with pencil because his hammer was made out of brass, and most of the representations are done with steel or silver. And so I thought a pencil drawing would be good, but you could use any color pencils that you want. In any of them would be fine. So I thought we would just go ahead and get started on this today and see how you like it. The first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to get some guidelines on our piece of paper. And I thought it'd be better just for me to draw it out here, and I'm not going to take up any space with me being in a tiny little picture in the corner. So let's get started. The first thing I want you to do is just draw some guidelines with some dots here. So just put the dots about that far away because we're going to draw a square. So those two dots there, and we'll come down about this far and draw another dot here and come down about the same distance and draw a dot there. So now we've got our dots for a square, and we'll just connect those together. About like that. You can turn the paper. I always find it easier to turn the paper as I go along. It's easier somehow for me to do that. And I can see a little bit easier what I'm doing when I turn the paper. So now we've got our square. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to draw another couple dots. So let's go in about this far down from here, about that far down. And the same thing here, we'll come up a little ways and out this far and draw another dot. And let's do that on the other side. We'll go up a little ways and out about that far, same as we did on the other side, up and in about the same distance. So now we've got those dots, and we're just going to draw lines connecting them like this. And this line is parallel to this. See that? Parallel, like railroad tracks. And then we're going to do the same thing. I just turned the paper over, but it's going to just match this. So I'm going to connect these two lines together just like that. So now these sides match. Maybe what I should do is make it a little darker in here. Just a minute. Is that better? Maybe a little. Okay. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to just draw a straight line from this corner down to this corner. So just connect those two dots, just like that. Okay. And I think I will make it a little darker in here. Sorry. You know, this is just like at school, isn't it? Where I have to make the light a little different. So you feel like you're at school now, don't you? Okay, that's better. All right. So now we're going to connect this dot here, this dot here to this dot here. Okay, straight lined. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing here. This dot to this dot. It's like a connect the dot thing. And this dot to this dot. So now our picture looks like this. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to just create an outline. So we're going to just do the same picture, but we're going to go inside it and just make parallel lines all the way along the inside. So we're going to just make a nice border inside all the way along. And I think it's easier for me to turn the page as I go along to make sure that I make a nice inside border. So sometimes it's easier for me to go along the side like this because it helps me to know where to stop. So we're just going along and of course too, because we're doing it in pencil, you can always erase, go back. Nice thing about art is there's no real right or wrong. So there's my border on the inside of that. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a border inside this big square. So the same thing we're going to do. We're just going to make a nice border along the inside here of Thor's hammer. This is the big part where he would smash down. You remember anything about Thor's hammer? It's called the Mjolnir, and it was a war hammer that was given to him by Loki, and it had two purposes. I'll talk to you about it as we go along here. Okay, so now that's the biggest part of our hammer. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to kind of put a top on it. This is the face plate, and sometimes in some of the stories it kind of had this rounded part, or you can make it kind of flat or rounded, however you want to do it, across the top. So there's your piece across the top. And then in some of them, it has, and there, that's better. It has, now Thor's hammer was not, it didn't have a really long handle because Loki tricked the dwarves that were making the hammer. He turned into a little fly because Loki could change shapes. And so he turned into a little fly. While I'm telling you this story, let's just color this border in, the one that goes around this shape here. Let's just color this border, the outside border, in on this outside shape. Okay, so while I'm telling you the story, color in this outside border, the very outside one on this, I think it's called the pentagon. Maybe somebody can correct me on that. Not being a math teacher, it's been a while since I did all these different shapes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe it's a pentagon. Somebody will tell me in class next time. I think, all right. So I'm sure I'll get emails about that. No, octagon is 8. Okay, so we colored that in. Anyway, the reason we were coloring that, and we'll do that on the other side too now. The reason we were coloring that was because I wanted to tell you that Loki had wanted to give some gifts to Odin and Thor, and so he had some special things made. Well, these dwarves said, okay, fine, but if we don't make them perfectly, you owe us your head. Well, so what he did was he tricked the dwarves by turning into a little fly and buzzing around in the ears of the dwarf that was making the hammer for Thor. And so because he was distracted, he made the handle too short, or shorter than a regular handle would be for this big hammer. And so the hammer is shorter than it would usually be for this really big hammer. And so that way it wasn't exactly perfect, and Loki didn't end up losing his head. So that's the funny story behind that. Okay, we've got these two outside things colored. And now what we're going to do is we're going to make some like little designs. You can just make squiggly lines, maybe like lightning to kind of represent lightning, or it might be, sometimes they put Celtic designs in here. So I'm just going to kind of make little squiggly, either Celtic or lightning designs on the side. You can do it however you want, but this is how I'm doing it. So make whatever kind of, fill in whatever kind of design you want there. That's my little kind of design to go on the side. And then what I also did is to shade right underneath this here, making this line pretty bold right along the outside here. So I made this line right here nice and dark and bold going along here. This is why I like to use pencils, because in art there are no perfectly straight lines and no mistakes. So I like kind of the texture of pencil. And so we're just going to make this a nice bold line to go along here and kind of frame this face here of this faceplate. And then I'm going to make this line here bolder too, along the very outside. And then this line right here, because it goes along the outside too. Maybe make that a little, and maybe color that in because it's different material, really hard. Okay, so then I want to show a little shadow on this, I think. So I'm going to kind of make this kind of curve in this direction, kind of like that. And just very lightly go over it, just a little bit. Not hardly at all. And then smudge it with my fingers. All right. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little dot here and a little dot here, kind of to match this up here, as if that is going all the way through from the top. It's attached as if it's attached from the top to the bottom. So I make it about the same width, take a little 2 dots here, and this is going to be the handle. So I'm going to make it come down about this far, because remember it's shorter than it should be, and make it come out just a little bit. And then go around like this. Okay? All right. Then I think I'll put some dots right in the middle, about this far apart. I'll show you some dots here. And a lot of times these were wrapped in leather, and they might have a little bit of a design in the leather. So I think what I'll do is, to show that, I think I might put some V's. And so the first V is going to go right in the middle of this dot. And then the second one is going to go right next to it. First one goes right over the top. The second one goes right underneath it, like that. So that's kind of fun. And that kind of helps me to space it out a bit. Okay, and then I kind of show that this is rounded by curving this one in like this. And then this one, for fun, I might want to kind of make this look a little bit rounded here. And then this one, I might want to show that maybe there's something different going on down here at the bottom. So I might want to curve these like this and make these different. And I might want to make these like V's like this, and then put something different in there, like maybe dots. Kind of like maybe they were jewels in there. And this part might be kind of nice to color this. If I had, you know, I might want to add some brown to this if I had brown, but you know, I'm not doing that right now, so it's okay. And I might want to make this a different color. So this is getting pretty close. I'm liking this. And the thing that about Thor's Mjolnir is that it was kind of a funny looking thing because it was not to scale. You know, what you see about this once you start drawing it looks kind of funny because here's this huge hammer and this handle doesn't really match it, does it? It should be lots longer, shouldn't it, for this huge hammer up here? So Loki really was right. It wasn't quite exactly the way it should have been. Okay, then you can leave it just like this if you want to. You can color it. You might want to write on it. You know, you could write Thor's Mjolnir. That would look like Thor's. Can you see this? Maybe not. No, let's see. MJ, it's got two little O's on it, and then L, N, I-R. And it's pronounced Munir. And then you could have maybe some like lightning. Because you remember, Thor was the god of thunder. So, and this was a war god, you know, it was a god of, he was a god of thunder. He took into battle with him, but also it was a thing that was considered a thing of blessing. So it was taken to bless the people, to bless the crops, to bless at times a blessing for weddings or baby celebrations. So it was an interesting special thing that Thor had, special gift. So there you go. I hope you enjoy drawing that and have fun with it. And I hope you share it with me and with everybody else in the class if you go ahead and draw one. Have fun, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.